All right. Well, good evening, everyone. Owen Fritzen here with you on a Monday evening. Hope you're all doing well today. We'll get started here. We're just looking at the potential for some severe weather tomorrow. And we're going to kind of queue up what we got going on and kind of the uncertainty that exists actually with this particular storm setup for tomorrow. There's a lot of uncertainty, so we haven't been trying to overhype this one. A lot of people last Wednesday and Thursday were hyping this one big time. There was definitely stuff there and still is, but there is a lot of uncertainty to it for tomorrow. So we're going to kind of break it down for you and kind of give you our honest opinion. Yes, we do think there's a possibility of severe weather, but we cannot be 100% certain because there are certain factors that have to play out in order for this to happen tomorrow and to get any of that severe type weather that we're seeing. So right now on your screen, what you're looking at is the categorical outlook from the Storm Prediction Center. This was updated in their afternoon update today. We'll get the newest update as we head into the overnight hours about 1:30 in the morning. But what they're discussing and what we're seeing right now is the forecast in the morning. So tomorrow morning and Tuesday is very uncertain because we're going to see the chance of some light showers and maybe a couple little storms pop up throughout the area. So the problem becomes those leftover storms that may move through our area tomorrow morning, they may suck the energy out of the atmosphere, and we may not be able to get enough unstable atmosphere or unstable energy to re-seek or refire up these storms. It just depends. The models, as far as model data goes, what we're looking at don't have a great handle on this. We're seeing things kind of on the low end, and then I'm seeing things on another model that is on the high end. So we're kind of taking average in the middle is what we're looking at because we've seen things to the extreme, and then we've seen things to almost nothing. So the models, again, don't have a good handle on this. We'll know more about this in the next couple of hours, but I did want to come live now because I know a lot of people work and go to bed and all that. So I just wanted to come live now and talk to you just a little bit about tomorrow. The bottom line is I wish I could predict it tomorrow, but I can't, okay? And we'll talk about here in just a second what they're saying. So we have a couple different levels here. So if you're looking in Ohio, we have two levels for Ohio. You can see the yellow, and you have this darker orangish color. So this yellow color means the slight risk for severe weather. We have the green out here, marginal risk, and then we have the slight risk, and then we have what's known as an enhanced risk, and then if we keep going up the scale with the Storm Prediction Center, we have what's known as the moderate risk, and then the high risk. We don't see those two high and moderate very often. So tomorrow, we're looking at a level 2 and a level 3. So you can think of this as a level 2 of 5 tomorrow and a level 3 of 5 tomorrow for this darker orangish area. So if you're in the darker orangish area, that's where the Storm Prediction Center is saying tomorrow we expect a greater chance of some organized severe weather development for tomorrow. If you're in the yellow area, we're looking at a chance of severe weather tomorrow. So that's kind of their outlook, and we'll look at the other outlooks here in just a minute. Now, with this being said, all types of severe weather are possible tomorrow. So tornadoes are possible, hail is possible, and strong winds are possible tomorrow. The two main threats that we're seeing, again, are going to be straight line damaging winds. We're still looking at that 60 to 70 mile an hour wind, kind of the average of what's going through and what we're seeing at the models. And then we're also looking at large hail. Now, not to the extreme that we've seen in southern Ohio before this year, but we're looking at maybe somewhere between quarter inch and it could get up to possible golf ball size hail is kind of what we're thinking at the moment in certain areas. Now, again, this is going to be one of those storm cells or setups tomorrow where it's going to be more of a linear threat, and we'll look at the map here in just a minute, but it's going to be more of that linear type threat, and with that, unfortunately, some people may get some severe weather, some people may not get anything. It may become a bust, and then everybody says that we maybe blew it, if you will, but we're not trying to scare you. That's why we're coming live now, kind of explaining this does have a bust potential for tomorrow. So we're going to look at some things here in just a minute. I want to look next real quick here at the probability of tornadoes from the Storm Prediction Center for tomorrow. This is kind of what they have highlighted here. It's green. So if you're in this green area, okay, this is a lower end chance, okay, a very low end chance with that tornado risk, basically 2% or less. But still, there is a chance that you could see some tornadoes. We jump into the hail category. This is where it really picks up a little bit. Definitely in this darker yellow box, this is a greater area where you're going to see hail. And what you're going to see when we show the models in just a few minutes, you'll start to see where that storm starts to fire up. It's really right along this line, and we may be able to move this. The Storm Prediction Center might move this tonight a little bit further to the north as far as that enhanced risk. It may go a little bit north or maybe go a little bit south, depending on what they're thinking. But it's probably going to fire up right over northwest Ohio. And then as it gets going, that's where we're going to see the larger hail risk. And then we'll turn on the probability of wind tomorrow. Again, kind of lines up right with that enhanced risk as well. Significant tornado parameter here. We're not looking too crazy with that. But again, there is a chance of tornadoes tomorrow. We can't say that we don't have that particular chance. All right, so let's take a look at some things. Now, we got a lot of different things to break down. And the reason that we have this bust potential, we have to remember our ingredients of a thunderstorm. So going back towards a little bit of a science lesson, if you don't remember, not that everybody wants to go back to class, but we got three main ingredients of a thunderstorm, and we kind of have this fourth ingredient called shear. But the first one we have to remember is moisture. Do we have moisture? We do have enough moisture, so that one is checked. That box is checked. And then we have instability and lift. Those are the next two. Instability, basically for the air to rise. So how much instability do we have tomorrow with the sun coming out and the temperatures getting into the 80s? I'm pretty certain we're starting to get that instability back, but it depends on if the front, as we have slide through in the morning, if we have that frontal boundary move through in the morning, is it going to slow down and drag on a little bit? If it drags on, then that's the less daytime heating that we'll get. And then obviously the last ingredient of a thunderstorm is lift. So obviously when we look at lift, it means the moisture of the unstable air with the thunderstorm. So how much do we have that lifting mechanism that kind of pushes it up? And then shear and wind. That shear is the one that we're still questioning, is do we have, as we go up in the atmosphere, changes in direction of wind? That's the number one thing that we're kind of waiting to see on what happens here. And again, the next model runs that come out in a couple of hours, we'll have a pretty good handle on what's going to happen tomorrow. So let's go ahead and I'm going to flip over to some model data for you. Give me one quick second to get this lined out. And go ahead and see if I can't get this to work. Give me one quick second. Biggest thing is too, tomorrow it could have a bust potential, and I want everybody to understand that. All right, so let's look here at the NAM model. It's kind of the best model. We can see the whole overall picture. The HRRR model, which is another model we use, is starting to come into view. We can look at both if we want to. But just quickly looking here at the NAM, let's cue it up to, this is 1 in the morning. You can watch along with me. I got a regular person time turned on, not in UTC time, but this is 1 o'clock here overnight tonight. You kind of see in the morning, 4 or 5 in the morning, we're seeing this, a little bit of a disturbance come through. And this is what we're looking at, is how much does this linger on and suck some of the energy out. Now, if it's really warm tomorrow and sunny in the morning, then yeah, we have a higher chance of severe weather in the afternoon. You can kind of see the model data here. We're looking at 8 in the morning. You can kind of see some of this still kind of move through. This is kind of what we're looking at, is how much is this going to be left over and suck that energy out. And then finally, it starts to set itself up here as we move forward. You kind of see it jumping here, 3 in the afternoon, 4 in the afternoon. It starts to move into northwest Ohio. And then as we continue to move on, here we go. The line starts to form. This is 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock. So kind of that peak time, you can kind of see between 5 and 9 at the moment. And again, this could speed up or slow down. I can't give you 100% accuracy on timing. We're kind of saying between 3 and 11 p.m., depending on where you live in Ohio, 9 o'clock and then 10 o'clock. Because we cover such a large area, 88 counties, we're kind of saying between 3 and 11 o'clock tomorrow is what we're looking at. So this is kind of what we're seeing here. Again, starting again, and this is the NAM model, and this is going to be outdated here, and is outdated. Waiting for the next one to come in, and that's the previous run. We're waiting again here for a couple hours. We'll get the newest one in. But this is kind of what we're seeing here. Okay, let's look at a couple other things quick here, and then I'm going to flip over to the HRRR. Let's go ahead and look here. Let me go to my severe weather parameter here. I just want to show you what we have here as what we call a significant tornado parameter. And I did want to show this quick. It's kind of a good thing that we're seeing here. The new model run is running right now. So let me flip back. Kind of look at the significant tornado parameter. This is kind of one of the things we look at, okay? And again, this is at 4 o'clock tomorrow afternoon. We are looking here at this. But again, this is one of those models that kind of goes towards the extreme side of things, and then the other models are kind of calming this down. So we do know that we do have enough probably shear in the atmosphere for a couple of supercells. I hate to say that word, but I would say discrete and very minimal. So a few of these storms could really get going, but it could be a big hit or a big miss as well. We kind of look at our juice in the atmosphere tomorrow. Here's what we're dealing with, and I'll kind of back this up. This is our energy. You may have heard of that on the news channels and things. This is kind of the storm energy that we have. You kind of see the energy gets going with the daytime heating, and that's kind of where we're at. We're in the mid-2000s right now. This is kind of one of those factors we're really playing in. Now down here, you know, we're at 3,000 and almost pushing 4,000 if we zoom out the map a little bit down south. But this is kind of what we're looking at. We do have enough instability to get some of these storms going. Not sure how long it's going to last, but we do have enough energy to kind of get these storms going. This is kind of that energy potential. So you can kind of see we're in a catch-22 with some of this because, yes, we have the energy, and we do have some of that SIG tornado parameter, and we do have temperatures tomorrow that are definitely going to be up there as well. I'm going to flip over here to, give me 1 second, and let's flip over to, I'm going to flip over to a different model, so that way we have a good readout here and kind of look at some of the other models besides just this one. So give me 1 second here. Let me flip over to the HRRR. Yeah, it takes me out 18, so let's go this one. Oops, sorry about that. 3K. Let's go to Ohio. Let's look at temperatures tomorrow. Yeehaw. All right, the new run's coming in on this. So let's back up just a second here. Let's look at temperatures tomorrow. Temperatures tomorrow are going to soar in the afternoon. This is noon. As we go in here, we're starting to get into the 80s, even the middle 80s, even proportions to northwest Ohio. So we definitely have enough atmosphere. You can kind of see where that front's right along as it moves through and starts to cool things down as that cold front finally pushes off towards the south. And then we have it lift back up on Thursday, which we'll be looking at Wednesday into Thursday. We'll look at that a little bit later. But yes, we have temperatures tomorrow, so we are going to have a lot of heat tomorrow. The question is, how much instability can we get from the sunshine and from the heat? And so we do have that. We do look at our wind potentials. We have that as well, and we kind of look at our severe weather potential as well. Another thing we look at, too, is called updraft helicity. And if we look at this, again, I don't know if I'm in the right model. Yeah, it's saying, okay. I know the newest one's coming in. Look at 2.5. We kind of look here at what's going on. If we go back here tomorrow, you kind of see some of these little tracks. These little tracks here. We kind of watch those, and we keep watching the one, and I keep watching the one close to where I'm at, up in Seneca County, Huron County, Ottawa, and Sandusky in that area. So that's the one area we keep watching as well. But we keep looking at this little area for updraft helicity. So this, in layman's terms, updraft helicity means it's rotating storms that can lead to tornadoes. So we look at that helicity, okay? It's a measure that just helps us of predicting rotating storms in layman's terms. So it's just some of those areas that we continue to see and continue to watch. So we'll have to keep an eye on those tomorrow. Now, with that being said, I don't want to hype the situation. Here's another look at that from another source that we're looking at from another model. Again, when we look at this, don't want to overhype it, but we are continuing to watch some of this updraft and this helicity for the chance of some of those storms rotating tomorrow. But again, don't want to flip everybody out. That's not our goal. And this could have a huge bust potential for tomorrow. So we're going to go back here. I'm going to flip on some model data on this screen so you can see it a little bit better. So give me just 1 quick second. I'll turn this off, and we'll flip on the model data here. I'll start with the RRR. Get some of the reflectivity loaded here for us. And let's get rocking and rolling here. And we load up out to 18 hours. It's loaded up here. We do have that front there, so give me 1 second. We turn that off. Time frame, again, depending where you're at, Northwest Ohio, it starts around 3 o'clock and then can end pretty much 11 o'clock would be out of our area completely. But I would say we're kind of probably still with that timing of peak time between 4 and 7, 4 and 8, 3 to 11 overall. We'll look at the model data here and we'll break it down in just a second. I'll slow this down and we'll kind of take it frame by frame. All right, so we're kind of looking at current. Not much going on here. We'll start to get into the morning hours. You'll see some of that instability come through, as far as some showers potentially in the morning as we head into the early morning hours. And then in the mid-morning, some of those pop-up type showers continue to move through our area about 10 o'clock. And then we're starting to wait for the lineup to happen here as we get into the afternoon. You can kind of see that line start to form. Unfortunately, that's what that model doesn't take us that far out because the newest one isn't in yet. Let's go ahead and load up the 48-hour one. Potential, yes. I would say potentially, yes. There is a chance for a bust potential, 100%. 100% a chance for a bust tomorrow. That's why we're trying to call it like we see it on that one, because I don't want people to accuse me of being, hyping the situation, because that's not what we're trying to do whatsoever. We're just trying to have you be prepared for the situation. And again, I would say be prepared. Don't be scared. Be prepared. I think that's the number one factor. All right, let's load up here. I'm loading up the model data, so give me 1 quick second, loading the loop for us. And that's good. So let's back this up till basically now. You kind of see that instability in the morning. Here comes that line trying to develop, loses a little bit of strength. That's what we're looking at. And then we see the secondary line really start to fire right behind that. This is where the uncertainty in the model data on this particular model versus the other one that we see doesn't have a good handle on it. Here you go, 6 o'clock, kind of see that line. I'm not sure if we're going to have kind of that 1-2 punch with it, or we're going to see that one main line form. I'm betting we'll see something more along this line right here. Is more what we're going to see, kind of that main line maybe start to fill in back here. So this is why if we turn this on, with the Storm Prediction Center category outlook for day 2, this lines up with that enhanced risk. Okay, now this is one model. Okay, this is one model of several that we look at. And again, this timing has it slowed down a little bit and doesn't have a great handle on it. So with this potential, this is where they're thinking the greater threat of severe weather is tomorrow, and it lines up kind of with this model. Okay, now outside of that, you do have some of the potential here. And again, this is only a model run. This could be filled in and not get as going as heavy, not as much energy there in the slight risk area in the yellow, but it still has, everybody kind of has that threat of the potential for potential severe weather, if you will, tomorrow. And we have all 3 modes that are possible. So all 3 modes are possible tomorrow. So one of the things are, I want to kind of leave you with this. Don't want to come on. I don't want to overhype it. And again, if you're just joining us, you can rewind the video here in just a few minutes and watch it. But we will be here live tomorrow. We have a good chance of a bust tomorrow. Okay, it could be absolutely, I wouldn't say nothing. I think we're going to see some thunderstorms, but we may not get enough energy. We're seeing it to a point, but it depends on how long those showers and storms hang out in the morning to see how much we can get it going here for the afternoon hours. So Storm Prediction Center highlights that very, very clearly in their outlook, is they don't know. And I can bring that up real quick and show you what they're saying. So let's go ahead and I'll bring that up for you real quick too, because they're even having some doubt with it. Chillicothe, you're kind of like right in the middle on that one. So let's go ahead and bring open the Storm Prediction Center, and I'll show this to you here. So going here on the Storm Prediction Center, looking at our day 2 outlook, and kind of reading down here for the Ohio Valley and the lower Great Lakes. Let's go ahead and zoom in for you and see what the text is saying. So pretty much what they're saying, forecast scenario is marred by uncertainty regarding the evolution of remnant convection on Tuesday morning in the Midwest to lower Ohio Valley. So that's that storms that we're seeing here, okay? That storm that we're seeing in the morning, potentially. We have some remnants of that convection, which could signal for weaker mid-lapse rates and instability relative to yesterday. Yesterday we had a little bit different area. So we could have some of that issue, if you will, for tomorrow. So 1 second here. Somebody was saying something. I thought I could have texted from somebody. Never mind. I thought so, but I guess I'm not that special. But anyway, so consensus of guidance suggests that the morning convection should persist east and strengthen early in the diurnal heating cycle into the Ohio Upper Valley along with large-scale outflow. This could temper the northern extent of the overall severe storm coverage and intensity as destabilization of the cold front becomes limited. A distinct outlier in guidance, the 12Z model basically indicates favorable scenario for a more widespread wind and embedded hail threat centered on the level 3 enhanced risk area. The northern extent of the severe threat appears more conditional, but a few supercells remain possible with the strong deep layer shear and greater large-scale ascent in the lee of the lower Great Lakes. So if you want to put that in layman's terms, if we look at this in layman's terms, that means the stuff we have in the morning could suck the energy out for the stuff that we have in the afternoon. However, they do think we're going to get enough diurnal heating. We think we're going to get enough atmospheric heating in this that we could start to see things fire like we were saying. That could fuel those for the afternoon, but it's going to be more in the area of the enhanced risk that you have right here in your screen, this orangish, darkish, brownish color. This is the enhanced risk area where they really think it's could get going. Now, development outside of this, slight risk, can't let your guard down, but they don't think it's going to be as organized as it will be here in the enhanced risk area. So that's kind of what we got going on. Those are the words straight from the Storm Prediction Center. There is a little bit of a bust potential with this, looking more likely that we'll have some organized development, especially in the enhanced risk area. I don't foresee the Storm Prediction Center upgrading this at all. I foresee they'll keep the enhanced risk for tomorrow, kind of probably lined up fairly close to right where it's at now. I don't think they're going to do anything beyond that. I think it's going to be kind of right where it's at for tomorrow. So the bottom line is I wouldn't cancel your plans. I would be prepared tomorrow. You're going to see some kind of some scattered showers across the area, even in the morning hours, and then you could see some severe storms possible in the evening hours. Again, nothing too crazy. Again, a couple supercells could occur, and I know we got to use that term very loosely, and that means just 1 or 2 potential storm cells could get going. Again, nothing going to be in widespread terms of tornado outbreaks or anything like that. Our biggest threat is going to be hail and wind tomorrow. Hail, we could see, between quarter to golf ball size hail. That's possible. And we could see winds up to 70 miles an hour. Those are the 2 biggest threats that we're looking at for tomorrow. The tornado threat is very low, but it's not 0. And there is a little bit of shear that's getting there in the atmosphere that we could see some of these storms start to rotate and form tornadoes. So for tomorrow, make sure that you have a way to receive weather alerts, especially there's some National Weather Service towers that are not broadcasting tomorrow in Indiana. I know there were some alerts. I don't know if they're going to have that up and running or not, but I don't think so. So there's some towers that are down for NOAA Weather Radio. So you need to make sure that you have a way to receive alerts. So you can download one of your favorite apps if you want to, or you can download our app, Ohio News and Weather, in the App Store, Google Play Store. If you download it, you can click on that little icon, that little location icon. You could turn on and off the alerts that you want. So if you don't want to be bothered in the morning with flash flood warnings or rain warnings or lightning strikes, you could turn all of that off. So you can turn that off very granularly for tomorrow or for any time, actually, if you want to. Also, make sure you know where to go during a tornado. I used to not have to. We got to hype this anymore, and I say this because unfortunately, my favorite ice cream. It's a weird question. Sorry, I just looked over and read that. Favorite ice cream? I don't know. Chocolate. I think just straight chocolate ice cream. But for tomorrow, we do have to kind of say this. We have again a low chance of a tornado. But we do want to remind people to get to the basement or lowest level of your house or structure and put as many walls between you and the outside as possible. If a tornado warning was issued, okay, that means you got to take action. If you have a general severe thunderstorm warning, it means you need to be inside and away from windows. I know this seems crazy that maybe I have to repeat this, but in today's generational society, unfortunately, the younger generation has no clue. And I hate to say it, but they don't have a clue what to do during severe weather. And I've seen that very much firsthand. So make sure you have that. Just be prepared tomorrow, and also make sure before the storms go, make sure you just charge your devices. I think that's always a good reminder. Make sure you charge those devices, especially as we get into the afternoon hours tomorrow. Power outages possible in some of these areas because we're going to have wind is one of the biggest threats that we're going to see for tomorrow. So that's the biggest kind of thing that we're taking away from this, and we appreciate you joining us. We're kind of going to wrap up this this coverage. We just want to come on here for a little bit and talk about what's going on for tomorrow. We'll continue to be live tomorrow as things happen. If things start to fire up, we'll continue to watch this and monitor this. We will have coverage throughout the overnight, so we'll probably put out some data here overnight or first thing in the morning. We'll be kind of seeing what the Storm Prediction Center has to say and see some of that model data and kind of give you that heads up. Again, don't overhype this because we're not quite saying that. We do have that enhanced risk. We've had these risks before, and they've been a bust. So we're not overhyping that. We're just saying be prepared tomorrow in case it were to happen. All right. With that being said, I appreciate you. Appreciate you guys joining us and continuing to trust us here at Ohio News and Weather. If you need to repeat this video, it'll be available here very, very shortly, and you can watch the video once again. And I appreciate that, and I appreciate all of you. So with that being said, we're going to wrap it up. Have a great evening, everyone. We will talk to you, we'll say tomorrow, because unfortunately we're probably going to have some severe weather somewhere tomorrow. So be prepared.